Hi, welcome to another episode of Webcam Sessions. This week we're going to be working on what are called natural and artificial harmonics, which are a really cool technique that's sort of unique to string instruments that you'll hear ukulele and guitar players use a lot. It's kind of that bell-like sound. Just to go right into it, sounds something like this, right? So we're going to start with natural harmonics, and what natural harmonics are is what I just did there. It's essentially where you can get the harmonic with the ukulele by just placing your finger in a certain location. So let's start with the most basic type of harmonic, which is your 12th fret harmonic. So the way that this works is sort of interesting. Normally to get a sound, we fret and we push down across the strings, and that's what gives us our tone, right? If I bar across the 3rd fret, I'm going to get that sort of sound, right? And you'll see people doing harmonics will be placing their fingers on the ukes, but they won't actually be fretting. They don't push the fingers all the way down. So what we're going to do here to start, so we're going to take our index finger on our fretting hand, and we're going to lay it across the 12th fret of our ukulele. And when I say the 12th fret, I don't mean the space between. I actually mean the actual fret. The 12th fret. So you'll see mine has the number 12 there. Yours should have a marker, usually denoted by double dots, but if not, you just count up to the 12th. And we're going to lay our index finger across in a way where we're right over the fret, but we're not pushing down like this. We're actually just touching the strings with our finger. So notice how it's not compressing inward, but rather just touching, right? Now if I do this, I hold the finger there, and I take my strumming hand and using my thumb, play kind of at the south end of the sound hole here. It'll sound something like this. You'll hear that's very stunted, but you can start to hear that harmonic coming through, right? If I'm a little too low, it'll sound like this. If I'm a little too high. But if I'm right at 12, here it starts to ring, right? So now the trick is, as you play the strings, you're going to release the finger to allow the string to ring. So as soon as you play the G, what you're going to do is release the index finger off of the G string, but leaving it here on the C, E, and A, right? And then I'll do the same on the C, and my finger will release a little more, now off the E, and then A, right? When done slowly, it's really tricky. What you want to practice is doing this. And if you do it slow like that, what you'll notice is I can actually move my finger down to facilitate the finger coming off the string for it to vibrate. All right. Now if I do it more in a sweeping motion, you'll notice the finger will just remove itself as it goes over. So we can practice it slow, where the finger sort of moves to allow the strings to ring while still pressing the ones that need to happen, or quickly, which is removing the finger as it sweeps through. This technique, more than a lot of others, just takes a lot of practice, a lot of muscle memory, and that's one of the reasons I like it, because it just gets better. No matter how long you practice it, you'll always get a little better with it, which is a lot of fun. So again, if we're trying the single ones, another trick that you can do is just using the tip of your finger to play that individual harmonic. So let's say I'm doing the 12th fret on the G. I can just put the tip of my finger right onto the 12th fret there. Let's say I'm doing the C, same deal, E, and A, right? So we have a few different ways now to get this sort of sound, right? Now we can get the harmonic not only on fret 12, but we can also do it on 7 and 5 as well. It just gets harder as we go up. So if I do it at 12, conceptually speaking, it's the same at 7 with the fretting hand. I'm going to be right on the 7th fret, not before, not after. I'm not going to push down. I'm rather going to just barely be touching the string here. And what I actually like to do with the strumming hand is I'm going to move it a little bit more down to give a little bit more power behind it. The 7th fret's more difficult to do, but you'll notice it's actually a higher pitch than the 12, right? And then 5. 5 is the hardest one to get, but with practice you'll be able to do it. Certain ukuleles benefit, harmonics more. Some just like them more than others. And different strings will make a world of a difference too. You'll notice that thicker strings, in my experience, tend to be easier to get harmonics with, which is one of the reasons why I like these D'Addario Pro Arte strings. And If you want to know more about strings, be sure and check out the episode we did on strings so that you can see what kind of strings I like. And one of the reasons why I recommend the ones I do is I think they get good harmonics, right? So that's natural harmonics. We can get them here at 12, 7, and 5. Interesting enough, the 7 and 5, if we go the same distance down the neck as we did up the neck, we can get those harmonics as well. So kind of fun to be able to play off of these harmonics in different places. So let's see, I'm at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Fret 19 gets me the same as 7, which is kind of cool. And if I go off the fretboard, I can get the same as 5. I tend to say 7 and 5 because they're easier to find, right? It's kind of funny to say, oh, about 1.5 inches up off the sound hole. That's no fun. So those are natural harmonics. And again, the reason we call them natural harmonics is because they occur naturally on the ukulele. We're not altering anything in the way of the strings resonating. They're resonating on their own. To create artificial harmonics, what we essentially do is we change the scale of the ukulele to be able to allow the harmonics to ring at different pitches. So let's say that we want to play not the open string harmonic at 12, right? But let's say that I want to play the 2nd fret and I want to get harmonics. Well, there's a couple techniques here, right? So the first thing that we want to learn is how we can play the harmonics with one hand. Same concept here in terms of the finger barely touching, but now using only our strumming hand, we're going to place our index finger on the 12th fret in that same in-between spot, right at the fret, not quite press, everything else. Take our thumb, put it off to the edge here, and we're going to strike the string with our thumb and release with our index to get that harmonic sound. And we want to practice this on each one of the 4 strings. So there's my G, there's my C, there's my E, and there's my A. This is a little bit more difficult than using the left hand just because it's all in one kind of self-enclosed concept, right? But as that gets comfortable, what you can now do is whatever you are here on 12, whatever you add down here on the fretboard, you add to the number 12. So if I bar all the way across 2, I can add 2 to this. So 12 plus 2 is 14, so I go 13 and then 14. And I can do the same thing, and I can actually get the harmonics because of where the left hand is now fretting. Right? If I go up to 3, I can do 15. And I can get these harmonics going in different places. It's called artificial harmonics because I'm having to alter the length of the string to get this sort of effect. Now this is great and all, I can get now the harmonics over the 2nd fret by playing on 14. But it's really fun when you start to play individual melody lines with this. So we worked on a previous episode on major scales. I think it was episode 20. So if you haven't checked that out, check out the description below. But if I play my C major scale now using harmonics, I will start here on my open C string and I'll play 12 because I'm using the open string. Right? Now the next one is 2. So I'm going to move up 2, go to 14. Now the next string is the E string open, so I'm going to go to 12. Next is 1 on the E, so I'm going to go 13. Then it's 3 on the E, which is 15. Then it's 0 on the A, which is 12 on the A. 2 on the A, so 14. And 3 on the A, 15. Pretty cool, right? So this can allow you to play different melodies with harmonics. Whatever you're fretting here, you just add 12 to that particular string using the index finger and thumb combination. And this is how you can really start to take off using harmonics in different ways. Now the danger here is if you accidentally hit the string without getting the harmonic, it's going to be really loud just because it's now ringing open, right? So just take some practice. This is something that I would definitely define as an advanced technique. Working on artificial harmonics is something that's really cool and something that a lot of professional players use just to separate their songs and the way they might play a melody from how they usually might play it. It's a lot of fun, but it does take a lot of work to kind of get comfortable with it. So if you're struggling with it, that's okay. The first thing to get comfortable is just those natural harmonics. And as we talked about before, using the index is how you want to start, but then practice it with the middle and the ring and the pinky. Just get comfortable with it as many ways as you can with that fretting hand. As far as the single hand technique, you'll pretty much always use your index finger because it's all self-contained, right? So another cool little thing that you can do with this is if, say, you're playing a song and it's in C or in A minor, the open strings sound really nice to sort of end something. And you can actually do that same harmonic concept and strum, and gives you that sort of effect. You can also do it at 7 and 5, right? And so what I really like to do is if I'm strumming something in A minor and I want to end it, we can end with that harmonic. Kind of fun, right? So play around with harmonics. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, be sure to look below because I'll be answering everything I see. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next week on another episode of Webcam Sessions.